Over 30 years ago, a game called Plok would release on the Super Nintendo. Later, fans would discover something strange hidden inside the game's data, references to 3 completely cut levels, and 3 power-ups that never made it past the concept stage. Only their names survived. Breezy Beach, Badream Fens, and Brendammi Bog. It's believed that these levels were originally meant to appear after the Rockefeller boss fight, but before the final world. And looking at the game's map, there's a suspicious path leading to a southern beach, one that could have connected to an entirely missing journey, through the swamp and towards the final world's entrance. So I've set myself a challenge. I'm going to rebuild these lost levels, designing each one with its own gameplay twists, and bringing these unused power-ups to life as fully playable mechanics. Join me as I recreate these forgotten stages inside of my Plok remake project. Starting with the first lost level, Breezy Beach. Thanks to Vox56, we even have music for this stage. So let's see if we can bring Breezy Beach back to life. For this level, I really wanted to lean into the word breezy. Beach environments have already been explored in Plok, so instead of repeating what already exists, I started experimenting with combining familiar assets in completely new ways. That led to bamboo structures being built around powerful gusts of wind that constantly push the player around the level. To create this, I used Area Effector 2Ds, which applies directional forces not just to Plok himself, but also to any limbs that he fires. This allows me to add an interesting trick shot, where players can use the wind direction to curve attacks in a way that wouldn't normally be possible. I also created an editor script that visually extends the wind effect to match the force area. Due to high winds, large waves also return. The biggest addition in Breezy Beach is the introduction of one of the cut power-ups, Robot Plok. When designing Robot Plok, I wanted to stay faithful to how power-ups work in the original game. They don't replace Plok as a character, they transform him. That's why Robot Plok still visually contains Plok himself, even if it's just a brain. To reinforce the mechanical feel, I reduced Plok's arm animation frames by half. Robot Plok also has his own somersault art, inspired by the Metroid series. Combat changes significantly with this power-up. Instead of firing additional limb projectiles, Robot Plok deploys an energy shield that behaves like a boomerang. As it travels outward, it continuously damages enemies it passes through. When it returns to Plok, it stays locked to him, where it can damage enemies that get too close. However, the shield does not protect Plok from taking damage if enemies overlap his hitbox. This shield is also extremely useful for collecting scattered items throughout the level, due to its size. Breezy Beach overall focuses heavily on vertical traversal, encouraging players to climb upward using wind mechanics. That vertical design became the foundation of how I wanted each of the lost levels to feel, mechanically distinct. The next lost level is Badream Fens. Unlike Breezy Beach, this environment gave me much more creative freedom. The original game never featured a fen or bog style biome, which meant I could design something completely new. Breezy Beach ends with the player returning to the grasslands, and I wanted to preserve that sense of world progression. So Badream Fens begins in bright, familiar terrain before gradually transitioning into something more alien. As you move deeper into the level, the environment shifts into murky fenland. Vegetation darkens, water becomes an unnatural green, and the landscape fills with fallen trees, lily pads, reeds, and pumpkins. To visually connect this location to the existing game world, I also introduced a statue that runs away from Plok's house. Here it appears abandoned, or possibly hiding, suggesting this region might have unexplored lore connections. Badream Fens deliberately shifts traversal focus from vertical climbing to linear horizontal progression, reinforcing the feeling of venturing deep into the unknown. The level features 3 new hazard types. Electric frogs appear in multiple colours and fire aggressive homing projectiles that track the player before eventually disappearing. Dragonflies act as platforming threats. They cannot be defeated without a power-up, encouraging players to focus on movement instead of combat. Swamp bubbles come in a few sizes and they grow from the water. They pop after a short while. They can also be triggered early by enemy or projectile contact. If Plok touches them, they deal damage. This level also features the Super Plok power-up. This transformation focuses on enhancing mobility and strength. Super Plok gains a cape-assisted jump. By holding the jump button, you can increase their jump height, while slowing your descent. Super Plok's fists return more quickly than standard limb attacks, and also introduces the game's only combo system. The first 2 attacks are standard punches. On the 3rd consecutive attack, you fire a laser beam, the same laser used by one of Plok's vehicles. This beam can travel through multiple enemies. Unlike others, this power-up does not expire after a fixed duration. Its extended availability reinforces the transformation's heroic tone, which is further supported by the original Plok title theme as its background music. This final lost level completely shifts the focus downward, descending deeper into the swamp environment. It contrasts the vertical climbing of Breezy Beach and the forward exploration of Badream Fens. Brendammi Bog reuses some swamp assets, but it introduces new art, including twisted trees, waterfalls, and muddy terrain. As you delve deeper, the environment becomes increasingly hostile. Hidden beneath the swamp are narrow, claustrophobic cave tunnels that Plok must blindly drop into. These sections limit movement, reduce visibility, and create uncertainty since you cannot see what lies below. One of the most dangerous additions are the bone jaws. These skeletal lizard-like enemies patrol swamp floors, and they cannot be defeated without power-ups, which I intentionally did not give the player. They must simply be avoided. 2 bone jaws guard a pair of fleas, creating a high-risk encounter. The level also introduces swamp wizards that emerge briefly from blue cauldrons. These enemies spawn potions that drop toward Plok. You must react quickly and attack before they retreat, kind of like whack-a-mole. Integrating the final power-up was difficult, as I didn't want to remove the intended difficulty of Brendammi Bog. The Ninja Plok power-up has standard attacks, but it introduces a new mechanic directly tied to jumping. When performing a somersault, you release shurikens in all directions. This makes it the only power-up in the game with a dedicated jump-based attack. You can deal damage while dodging attacks, making it useful for the enemies of the bog. Next time, we'll start exploring the final world. For now, I'll leave you with gameplay footage of all 3 lost levels. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this devlog, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.